Disability Leadership Advisor for CCS Disability Action, and this is...
I'm Brendan Murphy. I'm the Community Gardens Coordinator at Disability Gardens in Willow, down the road.
Beautiful. So at CCS Disability Action, we are privileged to be home to the Diggett Royal Oak Community Garden, which has been a part of our infrastructure for the last 40 years. And so our bid today is the Can You Dig It Garden Climate Workshop Series. So what we would like to propose is utilising our Eden, our beautiful space that is hidden away in central Auckland, to bring our community together. So Brendan and I from the disability community, we both identify as disabled and have been a part of this community for a very long time. And so what we're wanting to achieve is bringing our community together to not only survive but thrive. You know, we're currently living in a world where survival of the fittest, right? And it seems like we're at the bottom of that totem pole. And so our proposal is a series of workshops where disabled people are identifying what it is about gardening that they're wanting to achieve. Creating a space where we're, exploring some of the misconceptions of gardening. I'm one of the first people to say, I'm not a gardener. It is not my jam. And when I say that, it usually comes from a place of, it's going to take up too much energy, it's going to take too much time, it's going to be painful, it's going to impact my impairments, and that's simply not true. And I've learned that over working with Brendan in the garden and his passion. He taught me how to create a thriving kumara bed from one kumara that was going bad in my cupboard, right? And it's amazing and it's delicious. And so we're wanting to bring forward that passion for the wider community. And we're very aware that not everyone can get to Royal Oak. We realise that there are physical constraints around being in that centre space. And so part of our proposal is exploring the different connections with other community gardens. We're one of 90 in Auckland, and we haven't experienced those other 89, Who is our garden community? Who in our disability community is accessing those spaces? Are they accessible? And if not, can we share our mātauranga? Can we gain some of their gardening knowledge and share some of our accessibility and inclusion knowledge in that process? Yeah. I'm going to hand over to Brendan now to share a little bit about the garden and why he's so passionate about being in that space.
Good morning, Laurie. Brendan Murphy. Years ago, I used to volunteer at the SPCA, and I'd catch the bus on there, and there was one guy every morning, he had an intellectual disability, and he every morning would go to the dairy and get 2 big packets of chips, potato chips and a big bottle of Sprite, and he'd drink it before he got on the bus. And I used to see his behaviour change so much that before we even got onto the motorway, he'd get to the bus every day. And a lot of people who are low income, and it does happen a lot with people with disabilities, we're in a larger percentage of people who aren't working and also are sort of overlooked for work and things like that. So that also leads to bad food choices because that's all you can afford. And I just have seen so many people come into work and the taste of that fresh vegetables off the vine or off the thing, I've even shown them eating beans while it's still attached. It's as fresh as you can eat your veggies. And there's so many opportunities out there, and people just aren't either aware or able or about how able they are to do their own food production. So I've seen people come into work who have been really shy and haven't really talked much, and then sort of opened right up and learned so much more and made good connections through the community, garden community, we also have people coming into work wanting to know more about making their community gardens more accessible. When I first started there 13 years ago, I went through a few bosses, and one of my bosses was her family was fundraiser, and part of our garden wasn't accessible. So in my previous job, I was a designer. So we went in and did a plan. We talked to a lady called Vivian at work who works with the council on accessibility, and we were able to make a really accessible garden, but also different versions of accessibility. It's not always about wheelchairs. It's not always about it's not always about just concrete paths. There's so many other things like what we use to direct things around the garden. We've got different trolleys and things we can use. We've got the tools we can modify. We can take the ends off and change them over. Tools people who have lower grip strength and things like that. And there was a guy years ago when I was working there. He used to actually climb out of his chair into the garden because he found that was the best way he could garden. Just getting that into the soil and having that passion in people that you can actually grow your own and can be healthier and it doesn't cost as much. And there's always opportunities out there for people who perhaps haven't explored that and would be able to. And we'd also, once we've done this, we'd like to actually make it available to all the community gardens in Auckland and invite people along to the hui so they can see the work we're doing and actually explore accessibility in their community gardens as well. So yeah, with the recent closure of the sanctuary in places where you won't have so much access to community gardens, we think having gardens more accessible means the ones that are there are able to be used by more people, so we're hoping to get that into the community as well.
We ultimately, so the question that springs to mind when we were writing this proposal is how will you know that you're successful? And it's such a loaded question, it's such a hard question, but for me, it's our community will thrive, what we're wanting to achieve. This isn't just about gardening and just being in Te Taiao, in the environment. It's actually supporting our community to grow our own food. Our garden has been in existence for a very long time, and it's seen different phases, right? And a lot of our staff, because it's in our backyard, go out into that space a lot. And recently, we've had comments from staff going, well, it's not as pretty as it used to be. Because kind of pre-COVID, it was full of flowers, it was very colourful, and that's lovely, that's beautiful, but you can't really eat flowers beyond, the odd garnish on your plate, If you actually go out into that garden, it's amazing, there's pumpkins hidden under the soil. I think I found an artichoke heart or an artichoke flower hiding in there the other day. We've got random things. Buddha's hands, which I had never heard of before. They're beautiful citrus fruit. Bean plants, chilies. In the summer we've got tomatoes. It's people say it's not thriving because it's not colourful, it's thriving because it's full of food. And at the end of the day, that's what we're wanting for our community, good, nutritious food. And part of that is, if our community is wanting to explore how to grow their own food, what next? Do you know what to do with it? Do you know how to cook it? Utilising our connections to create a space of, let's do like a bit of a masterclass. Let's explore, we've had some kind of joking conversations, but actually, if you like a little bit of a tipple, let's, explore making some feijoa wine or limoncello or something, some of them get excited by that, and so it's about nutrition, it's about our community thriving, but it's also having fun and being together and connecting in different ways as well.
I'd just like to add one more thing myself. I'm a member of the Te Taiao Community Control, and in the last floods we've been out, we were taking packages of food out to people in the community. If someone had a small garden, they don't have to rely so much on food if there was another disaster and things like that. you can sort of be a bit more self-sufficient in the worst happens to you. You don't have to wait for people to come and bring you food, bring supplies and things like that. So that's another benefit of having that garden as well. I mean, we worked with a group a few years ago, and I'm actually on the board of Te Taiao in Te Taiao, which is the Arts Trust, and we had some people come into my work who they were part of a mental health group, and the whole time I was thinking, they're just not getting it, they're not getting it. And the last day I thought, well, what can we do? So they've been learning about how to grow veggies. So we went down the whole garden and just picked out food and just made a soup up. We all shared it, and just you see it finally clicking, and you can grow their own food, they actually taste it and they eat it. That's when you'll actually get people coming in and actually starting to think, oh, that's for me, you know. So, yeah. Cool.
Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. You connected with this person. They've just created the marakai for Ngāti Whātua, and so we haven't connected yet, but we're really willing to. And as part of that, so at CCS Disability Action, we're very privileged to have our Karanga Maha connection. So Karanga Maha is a space for Māori and non-Māori to come together to share many voices of what's important and what's important for our community. And so we're really, really keen to ensure that that voice is throughout. We have had experience in the past of working alongside people from Hokianga and Rongoa Māori. And you know, we talk about food as a basic necessity, right? But when you do food well, it sustains us and it nurtures us, and we can use food for healing as well. And just as a tiny little snippet of that, I am so proud of our kawakawa hedge. It's just beautiful, and just in abundance. So you know, using can we make buns? Can we teach people how to make buns? Can people teach us? You know. Yeah.
And if anybody does, we can use kawakawa and gardening time. We've got always harvesting
with us.
Oh. Yeah, one quick question. You didn't mention, just in the interest of transparency, the last budget, you haven't mentioned the budget.
Oh, I don't mind. That wasn't intentional.
No.
You're funny. So for this project, which we plan on doing over 18 months to 2 years, we have asked for the full 50,000. And the reason that we've done that is accessibility, predominantly travel for people to be able to come to the workshops, NZSL, audio description, and we were a little unsure on our resource budget, so we tapped that off to the full 50 because, you know, tools, when you look at them, a standard tool set for gardening can be $20 from Bunnings. As soon as you talk about accessibility or adaptiveness, you know, it increases threefold. So just ensuring we've got.
And CCS are putting in some support in kind.
We've put in some support in kind. So our coordination, we have a fabulous national communications team, and so part of this, while we have our a set idea of workshop timeframes, I'm hoping that there's continued connection throughout that as well via social media. You know, I want to see our community sharing videos of what they're growing, or someone coming back to us going, oh, these things look a little dodgy, how can we pick them up, you know? And so that constant communication and connection.
We're also regularly running workshops in our garden as well, which